Hey, what's up, fantasy footballers? Hey, sorry about the delay. It turns out the first time you go live with YouTube, it makes you go through a lot of crazy different stuff that could potentially, possibly make up to a 24-hour delay for some of you to be. But anyway, my name is Justin Stevens, and I am the new co-host, co-owner, whatever you want to call, of the Engage 8 brand with Josh. He has been kind enough to allow me to come on and help him out in this endeavor. I greatly appreciate you guys following along and watching. And like I said, if some of you cut out and with the delay, I will post that you guys can go back and watch it now. You might notice the green beard. A little bit something fun and different. I do something different every single year for the No Shave November. Something that's pretty close to me personally. I am a two-time cancer survivor myself. As of yesterday, a good buddy of mine from high school finished his final day of treatments yesterday as well for the same cancer that I had. So kind of showing the support by doing something different this year. I've never done is color my beard. This will be gone at the end of this live. I promise. I'm going to be shaving it off, but anyway, I wanted to leave it on there for a couple more days while I did this live feed, just to remind y'all, go get your junk checked. That's what this is all about. So on to fantasy football. This is a glorious, glorious, glorious day in fantasy football. The New England Patriots, Tom Brady, they lost. Brady was throwing his helmet around and throwing his temper tantrums, and I get to wear my Colts hat on the Engage 8 YouTube. So I'm pretty excited about all that because, as you all know, Josh is an avid Patriots fan. So it's not very often that I get to gloat about a Patriots loss because they're normally playing the Jets or the Dolphins or something like that. But that's okay. Even as a Colts fan that needed the Texans to lose, I was still pulling them on. Let's see. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the playoffs. Everybody's playoffs are right around the corner, but really, I mostly just wanted to get this set up and ready to go to make sure that I was going to be able to live stream properly for the for Sunday, because I'm going to be filling in for Josh on Sunday, and he's going to be going to the Chiefs game. That's right, I said it, the Chiefs game, where they're going to be playing the Patriots by chance. But anyway, since he's going to that game, I'm going to be filling in for him. I'm going to be doing your Sunday morning. I'm going to go over the weather reports. I'm going to go over a quick update on matchups and that sort of thing. Answer any start-sit questions that you might have for me, and that sort of thing. Same normal stuff that he does every Sunday morning, except it'll be me. So I'll be there ready to roll at let's say, I believe it's 11 a.m. And that's what I'm going to go with. I'll go with 11 a.m. I'm not sure if that's what time he usually does it. I don't really remember. But as far as being prepared and ready for the playoffs, it's really pretty simple. It's mostly for your dynasty league type of guys, because in dynasty football, you have to consider the fact that there are other teams that are no longer in the playoffs that are going to be trying to prepare for next season. And a lot of them have already been doing this. You might have even noticed a lot of trades here recently. And most dynasty leagues don't have trade deadlines either. So, like, for instance, we just had a trade go down in a league today where a guy that I'm battling with is in the playoffs. He just picked up Russell Wilson in a pretty big trade to help his team out. I'm already in a hole to him, so it's just a matter of time. So it's going to be an uphill grind. So now I might have to go make a move to try to improve my starting lineup and give up a draft pick to another guy for a piece that's not in the playoffs right now. So it's constantly moving pieces. But also in a redraft, you don't just want to give up at this point if you're not in the playoffs. you never want to just neglect your team. You don't want to be that guy. If you're not playing fantasy football for the purposes of wanting to win and wanting to win at all times, then kind of in the game for the wrong reasons. You still want to play spoiler if you can, knock somebody out, or even knock them down a seed, or take them out of a division title, whatever you can do. Um, but um, but regardless, it's bragging rights as well. You might run into these people again in another league, another time, or in that same league next season. I know some of my leagues I'm in leagues with buddies, and it's all about bragging rights. And if I can only win 2 games, I'm going to brag all about it to those 2 guys that I beat. So, don't neglect the waiver wire. Also, even if you're on a bye week, a lot of you have first round buys, and maybe you're going to take a week off like your players would if they had a bye week. That's not how it works in fantasy football. We don't get time off. So make sure you're hitting that waiver wire. And I'm going to go over a few quick waiver ads for this week as well, that might help you out. But for the most part, just always be acquiring players and always be trying to make moves. It's that simple. It really is. In the playoffs, you do want to kind of follow the weather a little bit more. It's getting nasty out there in a lot of different places around the country, that sort of thing. So make sure you're watching the weather reports and all that. So if somebody is on watching right now, if you could in the chat over on the side, just kind of type in if you can hear me or if you can see me or whatever. Oh yeah, there we go. Just saw Josh's message there. Yeah. So I already explained the green beard. I guess evidently you weren't able to log on, but men's health awareness pretty much. So it's not always like this, believe it or not. I'm not an alien, but it does look pretty cool. So I'm thinking next year I might go with the curly Q mustache, but we'll see. But anyway, make sure, Josh, you go back and watch the beginning because I kind of ripped your Patriots a little bit. But anyway, so moving on. So like I said, yeah, so watching the weather reports are really important in the playoffs. So, and I mean, you would think that, like for instance, the Packers game, the Packers and Giants this week, it was a snowstorm, and you wouldn't think that Aaron Rodgers would be able. Well, you might think that Aaron Rodgers might be able to go out and throw 4 touchdowns, but you also might kind of assume that maybe the Giants can't play as well in the snow. You're going to lean more towards a running game than a passing game, and if it's really windy out, then you might want to stray away from certain passing games in bad wind. So that's really the biggest key when it comes. I don't normally watch weather reports or pay that close of attention unless it's a monsoon until about this time of year. All right, so just real quick, some hot pickups for you for this week if you are still trying to hit that waiver wire. And like I said, I hope you are, because you should be on a regular basis. But for the playoff purposes, if you've been streaming or you got an injury or anything like that, or I do have some guys that you can pick up here, maybe even be able to get for cheap. Also in the playoffs, you want to look at what your opponent has, because at this point you are playing from week to week. You lose and you're done. So if you're playing up against a guy that needs running backs, I don't care if you have 4 solid, good running backs and you can only play 3, you're still going to try to pick up the best available running back and get rid of that second tight end that you haven't needed all season. Get rid of that second quarterback that you haven't needed all season. Pick up that 5th, 6th, 7th running back if you have to. You know, if Laird is going to be his best option from the Dolphins at running back, if he wants to go out and get Laird, don't let him. You pick up Laird, you store him, and now all of a sudden you have a jump on him. I'll leave your Pats alone. Oh, please. Everybody in that division, leave them alone all the time. So somebody's got to give him something. All right. So speaking of Laird, he 10 carries, 4 receptions this past week, and that was in positive game script. And we don't see that very often with the Dolphins, but the Dolphins do have the Chargers not the Chargers. They have the Jets, the Giants, and the Bengals coming up. So the way they've been playing, I mean, they kind of been playing inspired, and with Fitzmagic, which is another streamable guy for this week and for the playoffs. Um, it looks like they're actually trying to play to win. Like they want to win, and if they don't, what the hell? They're out there having fun. They're throwing the ball around, and they're looking pretty good actually. So they're kind of fun to watch, and I loved that trick play that I saw. Um, that where the punter threw it to the kicker or something like that. Absolutely amazing. Loved it. But it's because they're out there loose. They have nothing to lose, and they're just going to throw the ball around. So they're going to have a lot of fun with it. I think now is actually a pretty decent time to pick up some guys. Again, even if they're just Dolphins players and they're probably not going to do well or it's a crapshoot, they still have really solid matchups. So you having them can take away that option from your opponent that might really need that option. So for that reason, I like Fitz, I like Laird, and I even like Gesicki. If you really need a tight end, or your opponent really needs a tight end, maybe even Gesicki, because why not? But Minshew's back, Minshew Mania's back, baby, and obviously, if anybody is going to have a true respect for a man with solid facial hair, it's going to be a guy like me. It took me a full 3.5 days to grow this, so of course I have mad respect for a man like that. But on top of that, it turns out he can play football a lot better than Foles as well. He does have the Chargers coming up this week, which is a decent. They have a decent defense against the pass, but then he's facing Oakland and Atlanta after that. So nothing wrong with starting a guy like Minshew in the playoffs if you've been riding the stream wave all season long anyway. So let's see, Rashad Penny back in action again, another week. They're not going away from him. They're actually giving him more and more work. So you shouldn't go away from him either. He really shouldn't be available in your leagues, really. I know he's not available in any of my leagues because I own him if he is. Let's see. Anthony Miller is another one. With Gabriel likely out again this week, I think that Anthony Miller should be a good hot pickup. 21 catches, 33 targets in the last 3 games, and only like 1.5 of those games were without Gabriel to begin with. That first game, he had a solid outing with Gabriel in there as well. So Anthony Miller was really kind of fighting injuries at the beginning of the season, and now he's not. Now he's just stacking fantasy points like they've never have in Chicago, at least not for quite some time. John Ross is back, sort of, maybe. You got that deep spot that you don't really know what to pick up, but you also know you don't want that other tight end, like I said, and you just want to pick somebody else up just to have to stash. Maybe you stash John Ross. Maybe you stash a guy like Njoku. That's another good one too. Njoku had good rapport with Baker at the beginning of the season. That first game of the season, I think he even scored a touchdown. He was targeted for another end zone look in that first game or early in that second game when he got hurt. I like Njoku as a possibility if you got that deep position that you just kind of want to see if it happens. Then you'll be on top of the game ahead of anybody else because nobody else is looking at Njoku right now. I can promise you that. Let's see. James Washington is scoring high points. I would be careful of that high touchdown rate, though. I can definitely see a regression there whenever you're scoring touchdowns as quickly as you're getting receptions and targets. So, but for now, he is putting up big points, and Devlin the Duck Hodges is not afraid to throw the rock. He's going to throw it all over the field. So I'm not saying necessarily to go pick up Devlin, but he is on my honorable mentions list as somebody that's possibly going to be playing from behind. But also he does have Arizona too coming up, and the Jets, if I remember right. So Devlin might even not be a bad pickup in deeper leagues, especially 2 quarterback leagues. He's probably already taken in 2 quarterback leagues, but worth looking into if you're desperate. Darwin Thompson is another good one. Finally got a shot with the injuries to the guys ahead of him. And I mean, if Venus and Serena are out again this week, then I can definitely see Thompson having an amazing opportunity again, possibly putting up big points. So, and then of course Everett is going against Arizona. Gerald Everett, the tight end for the Rams, is going against Arizona. And Arizona sucks at football, but they are the worst in the league against tight ends. And they've even admitted that they try their best to take out the top two players. And if that's not a tight end, they don't care about the tight end. And that's why the tight ends get so many yards and catches against them. So, especially PPR, this could be a huge week for Everett this week if you're trying to stream tight ends. So, let's see. I already went over that I'm going over the weather report, injury reports next week for Josh while he goes to the Chiefs game. Let's see. All right. So really that was about it for the getting ready for the playoffs portion, kind of a quick waiver ad and kind of the descriptions of what to look for at the beginning that I talked about. Now I kind of want to go over all the different possible or different style or types of leagues that are out there in fantasy football. And this is something I'm going to probably try to touch bases on in the off season. Kind of a special type of episode where I specifically go over a particular type of league to kind of help you with the best strategies and that sort of thing. This year, I really kind of wanted to fan out and try a bunch of different style leagues, and I'm not going to go over every one of them. It's going to take me forever. I would never do that to any of you. Plus, we want you to watch the video all the way through, even if you watch it on 2x speed, so we get credit for it. If you like what you've seen so far, please hit that thumbs up. Maybe a positive little comment down at the bottom. You got any questions, you can type them in the comments down at the bottom. You can also hit us at JustinFF_. Also, you can hit the at Engage8. Not sure I have that one totally right, but I'm sure Josh will type it in a moment for me so I can repeat that to you guys. But anyway, so first off, the first crazy style league that I was in this year was the Guillotine League. And that was actually a league that I started. I was the commish of it, and it was to raise money for Toys for Tots. And what we did, we ended up raising $350. So that was really awesome. We're going to be giving that money to Scott Fish for next season. Unfortunately, he hasn't been able to get back to me just yet on how I can get him the money because they've already closed out their donations for this season, but they haven't opened it for next season. Anyway, long story short, we have $350 out there floating for these kids to get them coats and toys and stuff for Christmas. That sort of stuff is really heavy on my heart. It's something I'm going to be doing a lot of in the near future. I think I like the opportunity for us to be able to put the Engage8 brand synonymous with giving and donations and stuff. So maybe trying to do a lot of that in the off season, trying to raise money for good causes and that sort of stuff. But this Guillotine League was really cool. We started off with 16 guys, and every single week the team with the lowest amount of points for that particular season got cut from the league. It's actually called the League of No Return. So, and I give myself credit for coming up with such an amazing name for that league because it was perfect. But anyway, so myself, my uncle Steve, and a good buddy of mine, Doug. Sorry, you got you guys mixed up. I'm gonna have to answer to that one later. But the three of us are in the final 3 teams. Everyone else has been cut out. But when that player gets cut out, all of his players get dipped right back into the free agent market. That means that me, number one on the waivers this week, I'm going to be able to pick up Dalvin Cook off of the free agency. So, I mean, I don't even need him if he is hurt because I've got so many other guys. But that just gives you an idea of what our teams look like. We now have 3 teams left going up against each other this week, and that's it. That's all that's in the league. So it's a lot. It's a pretty fun league. So, the next kind of crazy league that I joined up was with my man George Reed from Sleeper Wire podcast. He started up again another charity league, and we are playing for a autographed miniature Melvin Gordon helmet. What I love about this league, what caught me right out the gate was, again, he's raising money for Toys for Tots, and again, I already went over all of that, so that's all great stuff. But since it didn't start, the league is a mid-season league that started at week 6, kind of pretty close to where Melvin Gordon started. So it made sense, right? And we're playing for a Melvin Gordon helmet, and it's called the Melvin Gordon mid-season league. I am currently 5-3 in that league, and the playoffs do start this week, and I'm the 4th seed. So I'm excited about it. Kind of would be nice to have that little miniature helmet for bragging rights, but I don't really like my chances because I don't really have that great of a team in that league. Drafting midseason was it was definitely different to be able to see where the players are at that point, and then trying to estimate who's going to be coming back from injury, who's got the tougher schedule. All the defenses that we thought were good are now bad, and just absolutely insane. I would highly suggest that people try that in the future because it was a lot of fun. That is for the BFTG, the Break from the Grind. Like I said, Sleeper Wire podcast with George Reed. Let's see. My main league of record with my buddies. We did add a second flex this year and took away the kicker, so that took away a whole lot of the trades. I do not suggest more and more flex. It just really, really took away from the trading. I'm going to try to get them to take that away in this offseason if I can, but it's worked out for me pretty well so far. I am 9-4 in that league, which is good enough for the number 2 seed. So I'm in the playoffs, number 2 seed. Looking forward to that. A whole lot of bragging rights going on in that league. So that's one of those. That's kind of the go-to league. So like when Josh Gordon in the offseason, it popped up that he was going to be able to play this season, and everybody went out to go pick him up. I went to that league first to try to pick him up. You know what I mean? Just that little extra edge with my buddies. So I don't care if that league is $1 to play or $1,000 to play. I'm always going to want to beat the guys in that league first. And I don't get to do it a lot because, believe it or not, all these leagues I'm in with all these awesome players, my league has actually improved a lot in the last few years. So you guys that are watching, appreciate you guys. You guys have stayed active and gotten so much better over the last few years. It makes it pretty tough for me to win, but I'm still going to do it. I got this. Let's see. Let's see. I got several home leagues. My buddy Justin, he's doing one where I am only 2-11, my worst league by far. I've got injuries and players that weren't performing and all kinds of crazy stuff, but it is a keeper league, and this is the first keeper league that I've ever done. Not dynasty, but keeper, where you only get to keep like 2 to 4 players, and it's at draft round value, and I think -1. So like if you took him in the second, you have to keep him for a first, fourth is a third, that sort of thing. So I have Devontae Adams I took in the second, so I'd have to keep him in the first, or Hopkins I took in the first, he'd have to be a first. But I did take Hunter Henry, Miles Sanders, Snell, and Hooper all late. So kind of guys that I might be trying to keep. Unfortunately, we have to know on that keeper like the week after the season ends, so that kind of sucks. Homeboy hadn't given us too much time to think about it, but again, I'm not very competitive in that league this year because I'm getting my face cleaned every week. Derek O'Cree. Derek O'Cree is the host of the Detroit Kool-Aid podcast. He's also the commissioner of 2 different leagues that I'm in that I want to talk about. He's in his 20-team listener league. And this one's a redraft, and it's 20 teams, and it was deep. And now I'm actually going to click on another tab just because I've never done this, and I want to see if it's still going to record while I'm clicking on this other tab for future reference, so that I can tell you guys I'm starting Jameis Winston, Christian McCaffrey, Eckler, Chris Godwin, Hooper if he's back, and I drafted all of those players. And then after that is just a whole lot of crap after that. So you got to draft really well in a deep, deep league, because in 20-team leagues, you're not going to see trades. Nobody's got nothing to trade. The few good players that you were able to get, you're keeping. So there's just not a lot of trades in 20-teamers. I really enjoyed that league, though, and I am 12-1. Believe it or not, that's the 3 seed, because of the way the divisions were split up. The 2 division leaders get first and second seed. I'm in the same division as another guy that's 12-1, and he beat me way back in week 2. But I think I've outscored him almost every week since then. So I should be good, but I got to come out of the 3 seed to do it. So that's going to be interesting. Again, that was Derek O'Cree. Find him at the Detroit Kool-Aid podcast. He's also hosting the 32 team league that I'm in. This one is a salary cap league. I mean, I've done other 32 team leagues before, but this one being salary cap was extremely difficult. It was literally like having a part-time job. Unfortunately, I'm not going to do that league again next season. So, Derek, apologize. I'll still be in other leagues that you start up, but that one was just too much. And it's one of those leagues where having the right league mates can make a world of difference, guys. If you enjoy the league mates that you're with, you're going to enjoy the league. This has a couple of guys in this league that I just don't get along with, and neither does anybody else. I can see them driving several people away, but that's neither here nor there. The league itself is a lot of fun. Trying to work salary caps again was something I'm just not used to, so that's going to take some time. I can also tell already right now that I'm going to need to wear contacts when I do this because I'm glaring all over the place, and you guys can't see my beautiful eyes. But let's see. So another league that I'm in, and when I say deep leagues, there's leagues like that where there really is no trading because there's 32 teams, there's 20 teams, or you have a deep bench, or you have you're rostering 22 guys on a team, or whatever. You really need to look ahead. You need to be able to look forward. And Josh Bigby is a man that does the Fusion Fantasy Football podcast. He also has his website, fusionffb.com, if I remember right. You can also find him at fusionffb. It's kind of his specialty, man, and I don't know how he does it, but he was always looking 2 or 3 weeks in advance, sometimes even longer. And he would come up with this crazy stuff where you were thinking, nah, man, there's no way. And like he was so high on Hooper at the start of the season. He even went out and traded me to get Hooper from me early on in the offseason. I was like, dude, you can have him. I was definitely wrong about that. And it's not just Hooper. And he's wrong a lot. We are all wrong a lot. But he definitely seems like he's right more than he's wrong. So give him a follow. Give him an opportunity too, because I really think that boy's going places as long as he sticks with it. But his league is called DGAF, DGAF. It stands for Don't Get Any Flex. Literally, we start 2 quarterbacks, we start 2 tight ends, 3 running backs, and 4 wide receivers. And that's it. No flex, no kickers, no defense. And it's a pretty insane league, too, and there is a lot of trading. Now, one night I was at a draft party, and I had just traded away my first-round pick in that league for Andrew Luck. And I was drunk at this draft party. That was the same night that Andrew Luck retired and Lamar Miller went down for the season. And I got depressed, and I skipped straight from like the whole denial stage. I just went straight to anger, and I just started trading away all my pieces. And I ended up 2-11 in that league, and it really wasn't all that embarrassing because I had a lot of fun losing. I was trying to win. I was picking up free agents throughout the season, that sort of stuff. But I ended up with 9 first-round picks for the 2020 rookie draft, 5 second-round picks, and 20 total picks. We can only house 30 players on our roster in that league. And I'm going to have 20 draft picks. So plus my 5 taxi squad players and a few rookies that I want to keep, and then a couple other key players, I guess. I mean, it's going to be a young team for a long time, and it was a lot of fun to be able to do that. So, guys, if you're not playing Dynasty yet, please get into some Dynasty because it is a lot of fun to be able to play year round. Let's see. The Fictional Fantasy Football League. This one is a lot of fun as well because I really like the people in this group in the Fictional League. My boy Coach Sheps is running that league. You can find him at the Trifocal Fantasy Football Podcast. He's the host there. He also he runs dynamic leagues. Like I was in a college football league with him and everything, and I think I was in like 3 or 4 leagues with him altogether this season. But he's highly active, participates in everything, tries to keep everything going. He's motivated. He comes up with crazy, weird, different things to do all the time. Like his playoff scenario, and this is one of them I really wanted to discuss with you guys. his playoff scenario is the end of the regular season, the top 5 based on record make it to the playoffs. Okay. Well, you take your average score from the regular season, and that's what you start off with. We're all playing against each other pretty much every week. There's no wins or losses during the playoffs. So weeks 14, 15, and 16, you add up that total. You add the points from your regular season average, and that's what you have total for your total for the championship. Whoever has the most points after that, after those 3 weeks and your season average, it wins the championship. And that's mind blowing to me that somebody would be creative enough to come up with something like that and be willing to like post it regularly. And he's always active. Like I said, follow that dude. I'm already at a 31.4 point deficit in that league because that's how far I am behind the number 1 seed guy. So I don't think I'm going to win, but I'm having a hell of a lot of fun, and I'm going to have an early first round pick because of a trade I made as well. So Sheps is extremely knowledgeable with incoming rookies as well. I've noticed that seems to be something that he's better at than most that I've noticed. We got some comments here. Let's see. Yeah, I love the beard. Brian Wentworth actually has been kind enough to allow us to write articles for his website. It's the cheatcode.com for the fantasycheatcode.com. And I haven't taken the opportunity to take him up on that yet. I just haven't really had the time. We got a lot going on right now with trying to get this thing going. But Brian, I am probably going to take you up on that offer real soon. But definitely appreciate the support. I appreciate that thumbs up and the positive comments. Let's see. Right on. Yeah, we should definitely all do something next year for the men's health awareness month. Like I said earlier, I think I'm going to go with the handlebar mustache with the curly cues. Real quick, I do have a couple more here I want to mention. The father-son fantasy football league was really cool, and that's not what it sounds like. Like, it's not like a league where you're father and you're a son and you guys are in this league together and stuff. It's a podcast, the father-son podcast. I'm sure a lot of you have already heard of it because they're kind of a hot thing right now. And Justin and his dad Paul are actually the ones that run the podcast. Great dudes. They have a lot of fun on their podcast, man. I got to tell you, even when they might say something I don't agree with, the way that they come about presenting their information, it makes you think, yeah, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they're right, because they have a good system behind it, and they're entertaining, and they banter back and forth like a father and son would. They're a great listen. Definitely get on there, listen to their podcast. And I took that opportunity whenever I got invited into their listener league. After I won their autographed T.Y. Hilton jersey that they were giving away from pristineauction.com. Throw that in there. But I was able to get in on their listener league, and I took the opportunity, since it was a father-son league, to allow my 14-year-old son to join the team with me. So we kind of co-managed that team. And it was absolutely miserable. I'm not going to lie. We had a really rough time of it, and we had 3 flex in that league. So trades were very difficult, nearly impossible. But I do have a little feather to put in my cap in that league this past week, the last week for me in that league, because I didn't make the playoffs. My son and I were able to beat Stompy. I don't know if you guys know who Stompy is, but he won the Scott Fish Bowl. So I kind of feel pretty proud, even though his team is kind of down this year in that league. I still can say that I beat Stompy, and I'm cool with that because I got a lot of mad respect for Stompy. So he's a guest on so many shows, podcasts that you'll listen to. So they wouldn't keep having him on if he didn't know his stuff as well. But all the guys I mentioned today, it's mostly, I wanted to use this forum as an opportunity to say thank you for allowing me to be a part of your community, because many of you have allowed me to be on your show as a guest and just talk fantasy football, and I have so much fun with this stuff, and I can't wait to continue to keep this going. And Josh and I really appreciate your support by hitting that like button and watching all this. And I know that a lot of you said you were going to watch it tonight, and then I couldn't get it going for so much later. But I know you're going to go back and watch it later, so I definitely appreciate that. But I also want to say a thanks to Hillary. David, and Alicia for running their home leagues that I'm also in, where I am a combined 29-10, and my seeds in those leagues are a first seed, and a 4 seed. You guys can invite me back anytime. So until Sunday, like I said, I'll be back Sunday to fill in for Josh. This green mess that looks like a football field on my face right now. My wife said I should have put little white lines in there. Would have been great, but it'll be gone. I'll look more professional and maybe clean up some of this mess behind me. But I don't know. I got the TARDIS going up there in the back. My wife actually painted that. I got the banner there from one of my Super Bowls and the cowboy hats in the back that my dad gave me. But I'll clean up a little bit and we'll see what we got going on. But I think that's it. So thanks a lot for your support, guys, and we'll see you soon.